Shalom Uvracha. One of the greatest wonders, the greatest questions of Parashat Toldot and indeed of Sefer Bereshis is how could it be that Yitzchak Avinu preferred Esav over Yaakov? Yitzchak wanted to give the brachos to Esav, and it was only because he was duped by Rivka and by Yaakov that he ultimately gave the brachos to Yaakov Avinu. And how can it be? So the pasuk says, "Vayehav Yitzchak es Esav." Yitzchak loved Esav ki tzayid befiv, because he was a hunter, because he knew how to hunt. And Rashi brings an interpretation from the Medrash that means that Esav deceived Yaakov Avinu, deceived Yitzchak Avinu into thinking that he was righteous, whereas in fact he was wicked. But that interpretation cannot be complete, because we know that Yitzchak Avinu had a lot of angst, a lot of sorrow over Esav's wives, who were idolaters, and this caused both Yitzchak and Rivka much strife in their lives, like the pasuk says. So Yitzchak was certainly aware to some degree of the wickedness of Esav. How could it be that he loved him? Because of the hunting. Hunting was indeed the basic quality of Esav. Vahi Esav ish yodei tzayid. He was a man of hunting. Ish sadeh, a man of the field. And the pasuk says that's why Yitzchak loved Esav. What's going on over here? Why is that a reason to love Esav over Yaakov, who is an ish tam, a person of completeness, of perfection, or of innocence? Why love Esav over Yaakov? I think the understanding to this goes back to Adam HaRishon, to the time of the Garden of Eden. And there we find that before the Chet, before the sin of Adam HaRishon, Adam and Chava, the pasuk says, were arumim, literally meaning they were naked. They had this innocence. Lo ispeishashu. They were not ashamed of their nakedness. The next pasuk uses the same word, arumim, arum, to describe the snake. The snake was manipulative, deceptive, right? He used wiles. He was wily. The snake was arum, mikol achai. And these are two qualities. Now, after Adam HaRishon and Chava eat from the Eitz Hadas Tov V'Ra, they bring in this quality of manipulation, this quality of suspicion into their own DNA, into their own essential being. And therefore they cannot be naked anymore because they've lost this innocence. They've become suspicious. They've become aware that there's good and evil in the world, and you can't allow yourself to be vulnerable because somebody might take advantage of you. And therefore they hide. They hide from Hashem, and Hashem says, where are you? We've lost this innocence. We've lost this relationship. Until Yaakov Avinu. Chazal say Yaakov Avinu had the same beauty as Adam HaRishon, as the first of men, meaning he hearkened back to that quality of pure innocence. That's why the pasuk says, Yaakov Avinu was an ish tam. He was a man of innocence. Yoshev Ohalim. He was inner. He sat in the tent. He was not a man of superficiality. He had that innermost sanctum of innocence, of beauty. But Yitzchak Avinu believed that in order to continue the Jewish people, in order to reach the destiny of the offspring of Avraham Avinu, we need a degree of Esav. We need to be in that place of knowing good and evil, of being able to hunt, of being able to use those skills of manipulation, even of deception. Because to reach the destiny in a world of good and evil, you have to know what's going on. You need to be a person who's aware of good and evil and how to navigate within that world. Yitzchak Avinu believed that Esav would be the one with those skills to bring the Jewish people to their destiny. But Rivka knew otherwise. Rivka knew that only Yaakov, with his innocence, could do that. And in fact, she was right, because Esav had entirely left the world of Kedusha, the world of holiness. The pasuk says, Vayivez Esav Esa b'chora. Esav despised his place as the firstborn, his place as the one that was to continue the Jewish journey into the future and to the ultimate destiny. He despised that. And therefore, ultimately, it was Yaakov Avinu, the man of innocence, the man that when he came into the audience with Yitzchak, Yitzchak smelt the smell of the original Garden of Eden. That's what Yaakov Avinu represented. But which bracha did he receive? The bracha of Esav. Meaning, Yaakov Avinu needed to combine both of those forces, both of those qualities. On the one hand, an innocence that harkens back to the Garden of Eden before the sin. But on the other hand, he also needed to learn the skills of manipulation, the skills of being able to navigate a world of good and evil and not to fall into the trap that innocent people sometimes fall into, the trap of naivety, the trap of not being able to handle the manipulations, the taking advantage of good and evil. And that's why Yaakov Avinu had to end up in the house of Lavan, where he learned these skills. And the same thing is true of us. On the one hand, yes, we need to set aside good and evil and be innocent. We need to place our trust in Hashem, a pure trust, a trust of childlike innocence with Hashem and indeed with those to whom we're closest, with our spouses, with our family members. We want to bring that into the world. That's godliness. That's the world of before the sin. And we want to imbue our lives with that innocence, with that beauty of Yaakov Avinu. But on the other hand, we cannot neglect the need to have those skills, that toolkit of Esav, that ish yudei tzayid, that knowledge of how to hunt, of how to navigate, of how to get by in a world that isn't perfect, in a world of good and evil. We need to combine both of those qualities together like Yaakov Avinu did, and only through that are we able to reach the final destiny. We should reach it b'mheira v'yameinu. Amen. We should all have wonderful Shabbos.